Welcome back to Nothing But Football, ladies and gentlemen, and the Zach Job YouTube channel if you're watching on YouTube. Joining you today, three men with fantastic beards. Henry Hill, back again. How was your lads' holiday?
I like how you're talking about yourself in third person there.
Yeah, I rate that.
Yeah, it was fine. We were going to go see CD Tenerife, who were top of the Spanish third division, but they got beat 2-0 at home by Unionistas, who were bottom.
And you went out instead.
So yeah, we went out. We thought, can't have those vibes. But yeah, Tenerife. Siam Kingdom Water Park. Greatest water park on the planet. Unbelievable scenes.
What is your favourite water park and lads' holiday, Ben?
Favourite lads' holiday, probably Benidorm. Stag do.
Did you? Oh, okay.
I didn't. I've been a couple of times. It was a good laugh. I mean, it's an absolute dump. But
why is it with Spurs fans and Benidorm? I know Sonny Snelling loves Benidorm.
Well, we did it for my best mate Stag do, who's also a Spurs fan, back in February. Favourite water park? I don't know. I've heard good things about Siam Park though.
Oh mate, honestly, get out there. Go see it for yourself.
I have not. I can't remember the last time I went to a water park. Maybe I was like 7
Shout out Aquasplash. If anyone knows Aquasplash in Hatfield, that used to be a thing back in the day.
Shout out the Triangle in Eastbourne that has a wave machine. We can all shout out places that have water. Jesus. Okay then, lads. As you can see by the title of this video, we're going to be talking about starting players, benching players, and selling players. We're going to go through a load of them. Some that are currently playing now, some classic shouts out there as well, and seeing what we do. Before we do that, lads, let's quickly set our parameters. Are we looking, you know how, for instance, what I call it the Joe Tomlinson rule in this one, because he'd always get very funny about
Which is not have an opinion on anything.
Yeah, that's the other one. Is it essentially 1, 2, 3, or are we actually looking at who we're going to get the most value from for selling?
I think 1, 2, 3.
Yeah?
Yeah. Because that's boring. If you're doing it just for value,
that's why I think maybe it is a start bench sell where we actually do look at who we would start, who we actually maybe good coming off the bench, and then who might be the best value
you just
for
go,
money.
I'm going to sell Haaland because he's worth like 150 mil.
Yeah.
No, I think you should do it in order of who's the better player, I think.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. Well, I still think it's going to be slightly nuanced depending on the group of players that you suggest. But
it does kind of depend, I guess. Yeah.
Okay, well, we haven't come to a full answer, but we'll see what happens throughout the section. But without further ado, let's kick it off with our first one. And the subheading I gave it was new forwards, guys who've joined the league. So we're looking at Woltemade, Benjamin Sesko, and Victor Gykores as our start, bench, sell. What are we doing? Henry Hill? What are we doing?
First up, I'm definitely starting Woltemade.
Yeah.
He's my favourite out of those three. He has scored goals which I really like the look of.
Very technical player, isn't he?
Technical
very
player.
good with the ball.
And yeah, there's just something about that blonde flowing hair. It gets me going.
Yeah.
I think
You're dreaming. You're in dreamland.
He's just a cool dude.
Yeah, he's
Nick
very cool
Woltemade.
dude.
So I'm starting him, and then we get to the other two. It is tricky because I was pushing for Sesko over Gykores in the summer. And I know people like to... I saw some clips on Twitter of Gykores trying to do your keepy up and he just like kicked it away. And people are like, oh, look at this clown. So I think what a ridiculous agenda is against him. People are desperate for Gykores to look crap. And I'm looking at this man right here.
It was funny.
But it is... at the end of the day, he has scored goals. I think it's disrespectful to his own celebration to be using that after scoring 2 tap-ins in the Champions League.
Yeah, one tap-in that was a massive deflection.
Yeah. I was a bit like, you got to save it for the good ones, mate.
Yeah.
It's got to really mean something.
I'll just do it on every single one.
You don't see Harry Kane kissing the ring after he's just
Ronaldo does do it every single time.
Does he?
I'm pretty sure he does, yeah.
Yeah, but sometimes the sui hit's different. Sometimes it's just like sometimes the big ones, you're like, ah.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking. But
I don't think you are.
You cannot.
He's right, though.
Busting out a signature celebration for a tap-in, or where, like you said, I'm not sure. Okay, sorry, I'm waffling here.
We spent 2 minutes on
so,
celebrations.
Woltemade, number 1. For me, currently, based on the goals that I've seen, a very loose Gykores number 2, Sesko number 3, but I do think Sesko's warming up.
Yeah,
I think he started looking. Obviously, it was interesting that he benched him for the Liverpool game, and turned out to be the right decision.
Arne Slot wasn't happy about that, was he?
Was fantastic. Yeah, I know.
Apparently, not allowed to change his team against
He's
Liverpool.
made some.
What are they doing?
He's made some interesting comments over the last 2 weeks, hasn't he? They did just smash Frankfurt. So yeah, no, he obviously came off of 2 goals in 2 games, and then they made a decision to bench him. And I think, like, you know what, they've I've given Amorim a lot of criticism over the last year or so, but maybe his treatment of Sesko, of not maybe thrusting him in straight away, then introducing him slowly. Obviously, it seemed the Cunha starting might have been more of a tactical thing rather than a Sesko thing.
Yeah, I think it was.
What are you smelling? Okay.
Think about the Sui again.
So yeah, I'm actually probably in agreement with you there. Like I've raised my slight concerns about Gykores. What I will say is, he is still putting the ball in the back of the net in a bunch of games. I think what Arsenal fans made good points when I'd mentioned it before about the fact that one of Arsenal's biggest issues actually was beating the teams kind of that they're expected to beat. They have actually had decent results against the big teams over the last few years. But one of the bigger issues was against teams where they needed to beat say Forest, or I don't know why it comes to my head, but Fulham.
Well, Fulham
most recently. And they did do that. And I know maybe Gykores didn't score in that game, but he did score against Leeds. He did score against Forest. I just want to, I don't know. I still feel like more is and should be wanted from him. However, in terms of the start bench itself, I'm in agreement. It would be Woltemade starting at the moment. I think he is such an incredible player, as Henry said. Gykores in benched and Sesko being sold.
Yeah.
Would you agree, Ben?
I'd agree. I think Woltemade is the most important to their team right now. Like in terms of everything from an attacking point of view for Newcastle, it does flow through him.
Yes. You
saw that with the third goal.
But they're still trying to make it work, aren't they? Like it's not like, because of that Newcastle team was so set up for Isak, and he is very different to Isak actually.
Yeah, he's more of a facilitator. I think Isak was that at times as well. Like you would see him drop deeper and allow Gordon, Barnes, whoever to run in behind last year.
Oh, but if you're one of the wingers now, you're eating. You're more than happy.
Woltemade is such a unique footballer that I think we've actually missed quite a bit in the Premier League, especially maybe when it comes to strikers in terms of like making the chance happen. Like he's almost like someone said on TNT the other night. He's Peter Crouch with a bit more pace. Like, it's kind of like that. Everyone used to say Peter Crouch had a great touch for a big lad. And he actually was excellent in terms of his link-up play. And I feel like Woltemade has kind of almost brought that back a little bit. Like, he was instrumental. Everything sort of flowed through him from an attacking perspective the other night. His goal at the weekend against Brighton as well was quality. Just a great finish. I really like him. I would go the same order. I don't think Gykores has been bad. I think Sesko's actually been better than people maybe say. So, but Gykores,
Sesko's problem is one of the first things he did was take a penalty very late on when they lost to
that didn't exactly set
Grimsby.
Grimsby.
Like surely he's going to step up earlier, and he just didn't. And
the narratives were
already getting swallowed up. But no, it'd be all right.
Be interested whether United continue that good form, 2 matches in a row now. Over then to my next subheading. 3 most expensive players. And funny enough, they all play for Liverpool. So start, bench, sell. Alexander Isak, Ekitike, and Florian Wirtz. Those are the 3 players there. I don't mind kicking it off, to be honest, because I think, quite frankly, number 1 is start Ekitike. He is so good. Again, another goal he scored against Frankfurt, his old team. Such a nice finish. You know who I saw? And what's his face? Liban from SDS. He said in kind of like, I'm not going to say the exact name, but it gives me the feeling of a certain Arsenal player that used to wear number 14. The way he runs, the way he carries the ball.
Walcott. He does remind me of Theo Walcott.
Big Thierry Henry. And that goal is very kind of Henry. He's got the fantastic pace. So it dribbles with it really, really well. Gets towards the goalkeeper, slots it in lovely with his right foot. He is such a nice player. Now look, I know there's been a lot of talk over the last few weeks about how Slot has kind of dealt with the Isak and Ekitike situation.
Not well.
And I agree, not well at all. I think when someone like Ekitike started as well as he has, and I know obviously they've got Isak on the bench, and he hasn't had a preseason and so on and so forth, but Ekitike has started on fire, and then suddenly you're going, okay, we're going to put Ekitike on the bench just because we spent all this money on Isak. Look, there's a lot of media narratives about all this kind of stuff, and I'm sure there's a lot of pressure from above coming down on the Slot to kind of play this 150 million pounds. Was 150 million in the end? 120? Yeah, no.
Isak was like 130, wasn't it?
130, sorry. 130 million pound man. So of course there's all that pressure, but surely you just look at what's happening in front of you. Ekitike is so good and so well fitting into this Liverpool team up top as well. He allows the players around him to do better things. He himself, when they are playing the goal, when they are playing or having to play a slightly different way and on a counter-attack, he's brilliant at it. He can link up fantastically well. You saw when he came on against Chelsea, he was one of the better attackers straight away. So it has to be him for me first. I would then say, oh God.
I thought Wirtz had a good game against Frankfurt. I
Yeah,
thought we
2
saw
assists. Got 2 assists.
and beyond that, he looked much more comfortable. And I still think that there's been moments where Wirtz has been good.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those where a lot of people are just like enjoying this because it's Liverpool and they're suffering. But
And also, once you cross the threshold into being a £100 million player, I think that's where the extra scrutiny comes, doesn't it? It's like we've seen that so many times before, and these 100 mil players kind of get, it happened with Caicedo as well, like all these other guys. I think you just cross a new level in terms of scrutiny, and the way that kind of football fan culture is now, like the whole 007 thing and all that kind of stuff. Like, people are wanting these guys to fail. When actually, I think with Wirtz, it's been just more about a case of getting used to the system.
Yeah.
Arne Slot actually having issues himself with the way that he wants to play this season. And also just probably at the start, certainly just adjusting to the intensity of the league, probably.
Yeah. I mean, there's also the thing with Wirtz as well, where, as you said, the system's just doesn't quite fit his style, right? Like, again, we mentioned it before about Leverkusen. He was allowed to be so free and kind of roam around that pitch how he wanted to, and everything went through him. And now he's almost expected to be a part of a system or as part of a squad where he has a role and has a task to do, which is get the ball to Salah or get the ball to Isak. Like, he is almost third in that pecking order of players who want to be on the end of that chance. Maybe even fourth, really, if you look at how well Ekitike started. But back to my start bench sell, I'm going to say I would start Ekitike right now. I would bench Wirtz and I would sell Isak. I'm sure in 3 months' time that's going to come back to bite me. But with how Ekitike is looking right now, I just think he has to be starting. I think Wirtz kind of, if Ekitike is starting, then Isak kind of isn't really.
Yeah, well,
I mean, ultimately, what they're actually going to do is they're going to have to drop Salah. That's what they're going to have to do.
Yeah, I think that's the more interesting thing in this conversation, in the sense that, well, obviously last night he played Isak and Ekitike out front in the front two together, didn't he? And Wirtz was carded to play on the right. It looked like a 4-4-2, but he was coming in off the right. Frimpong was going around the outside. And I think the biggest thing for Florian Wirtz last night was the fact that he actually had a progressive passer in midfield behind him in Curtis Jones to get the ball and feed the ball between the lines into the pockets where Wirtz can affect the game. So you saw him kind of naturally come more into it. And I think Liverpool fans have been calling for a little bit more balance in that system. And I think at the moment that probably does mean that someone like Mo Salah is nowhere near as indispensable as he was. And also, Isak, the thing is with Isak, what I've seen from Liverpool fans is also like what they're seeing with Ekitike is his desire to come and get it and make things happen. Whereas Isak, it's kind of almost like he's waiting for the chance to kind of come to him, which when he's as good a finisher as he is, you can understand that to an extent. And if you've got Ekitike and Isak, who I think actually could develop a really nice partnership playing up front together. But right now, Ekitike is in red hot form. I got a bit of heat the other day for saying that on Bottle Job, we did a top 5 finishers in the Premier League ranking. And I actually said, I did say it was a bit recency bias and a bit aesthetics bias as well because of the way that Ekitike plays. I had him second because I was doing it off the basis of like, if you give someone a chance right now, who would you put your money on finishing it? And I said Ekitike, his finishing mechanics are so good. And you saw that last night. Like you said it earlier.
Bournemouth, sorry, he scored a couple of goals.
Yeah, it's just like he's ice cold in front of goal. And I think what was really impressive about that goal last night is that second touch. It's an excellent ball from Robertson and he's got the pace to get away from the defender. But I think you see so many strikers. Yeah, like I think, I don't want to just shit on Gykores, but I remember there was a piece of analysis on CBS that Henry did in that Bilbao game where Gykores, it was a similar situation actually on the break where he decided to kind of take it in a straight line rather than cutting inside towards the goal. And I think so many strikers, and it's not a Gykores thing, I think a lot of strikers in that situation maybe make the same mistake, but he's brave enough to take the risk to get that touch in front and back himself for the pace to completely open up the chance. So I would probably agree with you in terms of the ranking. I don't think Wirtz has been anywhere near as bad as people suggest. Yes, there's been moments where he's lacked quality in and around the final third. Against Chelsea, he kind of got clipped up for that moment where it's like bumbling off of his shins and whatever, but he also created a really nice chance in that game.
Yeah, the pirouette.
Too, when he came on, I would go that same order. And you could make the argument, even though I think Isak will definitely come good at Liverpool, he's too good not to, that maybe signing Isak was a bit of a waste of money and maybe they should have used those funds to bring in a couple of other players that maybe could have given them a bit more control or maybe replicated what they were going to lose in Trent, for example. Yeah. I don't know. It's be interesting to see what Liverpool fans think.
Henry, you agree? Same lineup?
100%.
Okay.
It's not that anyone... It's not that you'd sell anyone, really. It's
in terms of this game.
Yeah, I think... I agree with everything Ben said. I thought Ben spoke really beautifully, actually, there.
Oh, so that's Henry nodding a lot.
Thanks, Henry.
A lot of love in this episode. Okay, the next one. Palmer, Bruno Fernandes, and Martin Odegaard.
Ooh.
Those are your three attacking midfielders.
That's the hardest one, yeah.
I'll kick off.
Go on then, mate.
I know Chelsea fans are going to slam me, but I'm starting Bruno. And then I'm going for Cole Palmer on the bench. And then I'm going for... And then I'm probably going to sell Odegaard. I think selling Odegaard is
that's
probably
one I'd agree.
the most sense.
I think the sell is... I will agree with you on the sell.
Yeah. I know why, like, Palmer, but I don't think you can write off what Fernandes has done numbers-wise in a very poor United team over the last few years. I think... And if you bear in mind how negative it's been at times... And that's sometimes we've seen that come to the boil in his own performances, such as that Liverpool game, whatever, moments where he's let it get to the best of him. But actually, I think from a professional standpoint, he's more or less held his head high throughout this whole process. He's loyal to the club, and also I think some of his ability to create chances is really, really underrated. I think if Bruno played for a different team, we'd be talking
Bruno
about...
should have a Premier League title, at least one.
He is, and I think you see it when he plays for Portugal.
Yeah.
How much of a big player he is for that side in a better team, in a more sort of relaxed team. I know everyone likes to get excited about Cole Palmer, and I do too. I do think that he can create something from nothing, and I do think take that like Club World Cup final against PSG, which he was just exceptional. But I think people are being unbelievably unfair on Bruno if they don't recognise what a consistent world-class player he is. When Cole Palmer, week after week across a whole season, I'd back Bruno to put in more 7 or 8 out of 10 performances than Cole Palmer.
Really?
Well, he did. Palmer had a whole barren period.
He had a couple of barren periods, but I think that was again, he's a lot younger than.
I even think about it for England. I look at Bruno. The England team and I don't see where Cole Palmer.
But I think that's a bigger issue. I think that's a bigger issue. I think Cole Palmer just is a very big moments player. That's something that I think he has.
They're also slightly different players. Well. Bruno's more of a...
slightly different players. 100%. Yeah, Bruno's more of the classic number 10 for sure.
I genuinely just think people are being anti-United if they don't recognise what a world-class player Bruno Fernandes is.
I agree.
I completely agree on the fact I think Bruno's overly criticised and overly hated and actually underrated in ways. Maybe again, this is my Chelsea bias hat kind of being tipped right now, but I just think I sometimes when Palmer is in that squad, he is just always the best player on the pitch for us. Even when he was having that bad period, he was still creating chance after chance after chance for his teammates. He would get into the perfect opportunities. We've said it before, and Bruno has gone through dry patches before. And that was Cole Palmer's first one. Then he started this season actually pretty well. Obviously, he picked up that injury, which hopefully, God knows whether he'll end up having to have surgery on it in the end or whatever. He's not going to be back until, I think, another 4 weeks or so. But for me, I think if it was a one-game moment and both players were fully fit, I would end up going for a Palmer just over Bruno. But then I will happily sit here and maybe say that is my bias bit. As somebody who is unbiased to either players, or maybe as a Spurs fan for Chelsea player, but who would you go with?
It's really tough, actually.
You're also in agreement that Odegaard is one being sold, I see.
Yeah, I would say so, yeah. Even though I think I said this a few weeks ago, I think the Odegaard thing has become a little bit too much.
I agree.
But... it's tough. I would probably back Palmer slightly more as a moments player to deliver maybe slightly more than Bruno. But then again, Bruno at the weekend, that cross is just outrageous for Maguire.
I don't know if I agree about the whole moments thing. I think
there's not much in it. There's not much in it.
Relentlessly put up big moments.
True. I think I would probably start Bruno over Palmer. I think you have to look at Bruno's
You've just been pushed there.
catalogue. No, I was going to say it anyway, but I just think Palmer, like you said, Euros final, big game player. They're both very good big game players. Palmer has delivered in a lot of moments, but what would say is that system, I think, at Chelsea is more geared up for things to flow through Cole Palmer, whereas at United, Fernandes has been playing out of position ever since Amorim's come in. He's never really played as that classic number 10. I don't actually think you're getting the best out of Bruno Fernandes by playing him in that pivot.
But he's not necessarily been good in that but he's not been good.
Who, Bruno?
When he's played for really under.
Bruno's
Amorim,
been
I
their
think.
best player for the whole Amorim kind of era. Like I think, I think he has been good.
I think when he's playing deeper, when he's playing so deep, I really don't think he's that.
Yeah, but
amazing. I thought he was
he's
great
not
against Liverpool,
but he's not.
But I don't think he's been.
But he's not supposed to be playing there. Like, that's been the whole thing with Amorim the whole time.
I completely agree. But my point is, we can't. I don't think we can.
But I think
talking
that
about
gives
his performance
Bruno
under
more
Amorim-
credit. I think because he's playing. Okay, maybe Bruno Fernandes isn't quite playing at the same level as he was under Ollie or under even maybe Ten Hag at points. Actually, under Ten Hag, it's probably maybe where he played some of his worst football. I think United fans will let us know. I don't know, but where he was being the number 10, classic number 10, kind of in the final third, creating things, making things happen. His goals and assists were absolutely outrageous. But I think to create the most amount of chances in the Premier League last season, still be up there for it this season, playing in a system that doesn't really suit him and you're not getting anywhere near the best out of him, I think that's testament to how much he is probably overperforming, playing in a role that doesn't get the best anywhere near out of his strengths. I don't know. It's not. I love Cole Palmer. Cole Palmer is probably my favourite player, almost maybe to watch in the Premier League outside of Tottenham. But I would probably, just for the longer body of work and what Bruno has done for this United team that have massively underperformed, I'd probably pick Bruno over him.
Okay, fine, absolutely fine. So we've got slightly different for me compared to the other boys. Let us know as well with all of your opinions in the comments below.
Let us know if you completely disagree with that one, actually.
Let me know why they are all idiots there. Next one we're going to look at is, again, some 10, slightly on maybe just the lower level lower. We are bringing back Wirtz into this conversation. It's the only time I'm repeating a player. But it's going to be Wirtz, Simmons and Eze in that kind of 10 position. Slightly does play on maybe the wing every now and again. I think it's an interesting one because Simmons hasn't had the best start to life at Spurs at the moment, has he? I think obviously there yesterday it was the Monaco game. I think he got a little bit of criticism for that. In the same breath, I'd say he hasn't really started in the 10 that often as well, which is kind of harsh to maybe then kind of quantify his performances after not really playing in the position he should be playing. So, yeah, those are our three there. I think for me, I'd be looking at right now starting Eze, looking to bench Wirtz and selling Xavi Simons at the moment for me. Eze, I think, has had a really nice start to life at Arsenal. I think there's less pressure on him compared to the other two players, like without a doubt. I think
he's not done loads.
He hasn't done loads, but he has look, when the team performances for Arsenal are obviously they're sitting at the top of the league, they're doing really well in the Champions League. Everybody's always going to be looked at in a fonder light. Everyone's always going to be looked
for
at
sure.
with
When they're winning games,
they've had a good settle. I remember like Keane was saying it about the Liverpool players recently about like look when they were winning every game, even though they weren't the best games and they were scoring in the last minute. No one batted an eyelid about Salah, and no one batted an eyelid about McAllister, even though they weren't necessarily playing amazingly then. I think the same can be said for maybe some of the Arsenal players, but like Eze has, I think, had impacts in games. I think he has allowed Arsenal to play a slightly different way. I think him being able to have a nice cushy start is not a bad thing. It's definitely not a bad thing. I think if you ask all the others, Liverpool or Spurs fans, they say that the exact same they could hope for their players. Simmons, though, and again, maybe partially due to the Bruno issue with Amorim, he's just not playing in the position where you're going to get the best out of him. I think that's such a big thing, and that's what I'm kind of having to. Yeah,
he's not had a consistent. He's not had a consistent run there. He has played games there, like against Aston Villa. He played in the 10 on Sunday, but I think the biggest issue for me in that game was we just weren't finding him at all in those kind of pockets. Is
that because of the two DMs you were playing essentially?
Massively, I think so. I think Xavi Simons has shown the capability in certain games for Spurs to take the game by the scruff of the neck and drop deeper and get on the ball and make things happen. Brighton, where he came on and totally kind of turned that game around for us. I thought he had a really good performance against Leeds just before the international break as well, where he was kind of linking up nicely down that left-hand side with Doggy and Odegaard, and he kind of had a bit more freedom, it seems like. But it felt like on Sunday it was almost very like, this is the pivot, this is the bank in midfield of Bentancur and Paulinho. Simmons has to stay kind of just off of Tell up front, but we're not going to get the ball to him. Because if you look at the kind of the passing map of that game, it was Bentancur. Paulinho is excellent at winning the ball back, creating situations where maybe we can turn the ball over and go. But what happens is Paulinho wins it, and then Bentancur looks up, and then just rather than trying to risk losing the ball to play through the lines to get your number 10 in the game who can take the ball on the half turn, run at the defence, slip someone in, makes things happen in the final third, he just passes sideways and backwards and sideways and backwards. And it's like he's not receiving the ball in the areas where he can affect the game. And of course, you want him to be doing a little bit more as well. And I think the evidence is that we have seen him do that in certain moments, but not maybe necessarily enough. I'd say the balance of the issues between Simmons so far are maybe more 70-30. There's kind of weighed on the system not getting the best out of him and not having a consistent run in his best position, but also maybe you want to see him do more as well. And I think also like for the body of work in the Prem, I think Eze you probably start. Also, I think the difference that he's made for Arsenal is, although he's not like massively up there in terms of goals and assists or anything, I think he's only got one goal, I think, so far for Arsenal in the Cup, but he gets shots off from outside the box. He's a little bit more brave to, even like the other night, he had a deflected one that hit the bar. It's like, it felt like that was maybe something Arsenal weren't doing as much, or Odegaard wasn't doing as much maybe in that kind of position.
He's slotted in nicely though, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Like, it's just kind of been a bit of a plug and play. Like, he's been able to just go. There's not been this like weird, like systematic, like failing.
He's helped bring the best out of Martinelli as well, which is quite interesting.
Yeah, very true.
It's genuine competition on that left-hand side, and actually they're quite a good foil to each other. As
almost
Martinelli.
opposites in the way they play, aren't they?
Exactly. So kind of what, to be fair to Chelsea, a good thing that they've going on their wings at the moment. So yeah, it is a tricky one, and I've seen way more of Eze than I have of Simmons in reality. And
I still think Simmons will come good. I do like having his body
I
of
do.
work previous is like so exceptional, and obviously look, there have been players before that have been really good in other leagues and joined and not been amazing.
Yeah.
But you do need the manager to kind of give him a helping hand by playing him in his best
yeah,
position.
just stick him there.
And also find him. I think you've got to be. I think that's the biggest issue for me. Like right now, like I think last night was the only game so far where he's come on and I've gone, no, you were actually just quite poor. Like every time he got the ball, it was like he made the wrong decision a couple of times. It was like, oh.
But then this adds to the pressure, right? Like he knows, like, okay, now I've been given a chance. The Spurs team generally aren't playing well. They're relying on me now to step up. And obviously that's when you want your best players set up. That is like the moment for them.
And I do think he's
But
got
it's
the
a lot of
mentality to
pressure.
do that. But also I think you've got to help him. You've got to be, and also I think on Sunday, for example, like losing Romero in the warm-up for that game, massively, we've spoken about this before in terms of how reliant Spurs are on Romero to progress the ball, and not like there was one moment where Simmons kind of floated into a pocket away from Onana and Kamara to receive the ball. Bentancur actually, for the only time in the game, tried to find him. It was a slightly overhit pass, but you can appreciate the effort. And then he just puts it back in his pocket. And never does it again. Whereas Romero, I've seen it with Romero, he's tried to punch the ball through the lines to find a player. He's lost it. But he keeps going. And also, I think
that's sometimes the best players. Like I think a lot of the time, the stats are like the person that's got the most assists or whatever. Kevin De Bruyne was always a big one. Yeah. Kevin De Bruyne was always top of the list for the most misplaced passes.
Yeah, you've got to risk losing the ball to make something happen. I think that's the sort of bigger issue that we're having with Frank at the moment, is that he came in and was like, to not take risks is to also take risks. And that was something that got Spurs fans on board straight away, because it was like at Brentford, I think everyone kind of knew him for playing this way, but we knew it probably could scale up to a bigger club. But also we liked his sentiment of like, no, we are going to play on the front foot. We are going to be brave. We are going to do this. It's the Tottenham way and all that kind of stuff. Whereas we're not really seeing that kind of in evident. But it's like I feel like Tottenham are a team that should play good football and be easy on the eye. It's like, and we're not really doing that. And I think you've got to be more brave to get that number 10 in the game, otherwise it's not going to affect it.
As a Spurs fan, when you're in these situations, like who do you look at and you're like, that guy is going to score a goal, or that guy is going to get the assist?
That's what worries me.
Is it because
other than Mohamed Kudus?
That's it.
Yeah,
because that's what I was thinking about this yesterday when, and actually slightly after the Villa game, and obviously Chelsea had beaten Forest, but there are a few players on Chelsea where I think like. Pedro could step up. Pedro Neto could do it.
Yeah.
Like even yesterday, I was like, Gittins looks really like starting to look a little bit better. Estevao's a guy who come there. Of course, Palmer. There's a few guys I'm always like, they could do it.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, does Spurs have enough of those players? But an interesting tidbit. Would you guys agree with me then with that? Eze versus Simmons?
Yeah, probably. Okay. Although I think if we had this debate at the end of the season, I think I'd probably put Wirtz over Eze. I think Wirtz will come really good.
Just quickly on Spurs, and my colleague and I earlier agreed that if it's a evening game on TV and Spurs are up against one of the big boys, it's always worth watching. Sometimes Chelsea, Arsenal might not. For some reason, whenever Spurs play one of the big boys, you know that it's going to be fun. You know that something's going to be Spurs. Take away that 0-0 against Monaco. More often than not, Spurs.
That was our first 0-0 in 125 games.
Yeah, Spurs always. It's always an entertaining game.
Section basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
The thing about Spurs is everyone wants to beat them, and they're not world class enough to fully fear them. So it's like you think you can get at them, and as a result of that, it's normally a bit of a basketball game. It's great stuff.
We've got Chelsea in a couple of weeks, which is always an interesting one. So that'll
best
be
fixture in the league.
And Romero's also like on it. That's like the day that he's going to be back.
I've been there before.
Yeah,
it's like the war, like the Vietnam War flashbacks, man. It's like the 1,000-yard stare. I've seen that a million times.
Okay, then a little interesting one here because we are predicting the future. I mean, predict the future for a lot of these guys, but it's wonder kids, youngsters, and we've got Estevao at Chelsea, Rio Ngumoha at Liverpool, and Ethan Nwaneri at Arsenal. Several of these players are kind of playing on the wing.
I think this one's quite easy.
Yeah.
Who are you going to go for, Henry?
Estevao, start. Then I'm going for Nwaneri, bench, and I'm selling Ngumoha.
Yeah, agreed.
I'm benching Rio. I think Rio's some talent, man.
Yeah, he is. We haven't really seen. That's the Chelsea league coming
maybe
back
it's
in.
Chelsea in the end.
I think we haven't seen Ngumoha.
Have we really seen enough of Nwaneri?
Last season, I think.
But
he got 10 goals last year.
Yeah.
9 or 10 goals.
He looks really good, but I also kind of worry now as well that, like, because of the players they've signed, like, is he going to play?
Well, look at Liverpool. They've got Chiesa, Ekitike, Isak, Salah, Gakpo, who can all kind of play in any position across that front line.
But Rio has featured more than Nwaneri this season.
True.
Like, Nwaneri has, obviously, Madueke and Saka kind of on that right wing. Now in the 10 position is Odegaard and Eze to deal with. We've never really ever seen him kind of shifted out on the left, but there is then Trossard or what's his face? Martinelli out there.
That's true.
Like that, there are kind of players all over the pitch now. They've only added to more competition. And look, from Arsenal's point of view, like it's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
But I do just wonder when we're going to really see it.
I think it depends on which way you're looking at it.
Yeah.
Who's going to have a better... I would probably argue that Ngumoha could have a better career at Liverpool than Nwaneri at Arsenal because he's probably got less of a blockage in front of him in the sense that I don't know how much longer Gakpo will be at Liverpool. Gakpo's a really important player for them, but he might not be there in 2 or 3 years' time. Ngumoha is also only 16. Whereas Nwaneri, they've just obviously signed Eze. They've got Odegaard. He did sign a new deal. They've got Saka on that right-hand side. He's very much biased towards that right-hand side. Nwaneri, isn't he? He likes to either play in the 10 and drift out there or start as a right winger. Whereas I think Ngumoha is probably a little bit maybe more... The pathway might be a little bit more clearer for him at Liverpool, I guess is the point. But...
Some of the goals that Nwaneri have scored for Arsenal are very good.
And big games as well, like City.
Yeah. Like, obviously, Ngumoha's first goal is iconic against Newcastle. Yeah, but at the same time, Nwaneri's done some really remarkable things for Arsenal. And I think probably because we've now seen him over the course of a season and a half, youngest Premier League debutant ever, wasn't it, or something like that, or appearance maker.
3 years ago now, isn't it?
But I think we're almost a bit more used to seeing him than we are Ngumoha.
I was going to say this. He's not as like shiny new toy anymore.
But you can't write off how good he is.
Not
but I know why you've got. I know why you put Rio on the bench, but I think Estevao, my goodness, I think what a player. Yeah. And that we were told this was going to be the case.
You know, you hear it all the time, don't you? This is the ex Messi, this is the Brazilian Messi, this is, but then they were all saying like it's the next Neymar to come out of Brazil. But the confidence in the young man is a joke. It is absolutely ridiculous. The confidence to just take on whoever it might be, to just feel like he's a part of the squad already. He looks so happy to be playing every time he's on the pitch. I actually have to
minutes.
Sorry, what did you say? Sorry?
Well, he's getting minutes.
Well, I'm actually going to say there that I actually think Enzo's doing it well by the fact that he's not just starting him every game. Like he's using him slowly and putting him into it. He actually said after the Champions League that he's, funnily enough, more ready to play in the Champions League than he is the Premier League because the Premier League's so physical.
Probably.
And that it's going to be a bit of time and adapting for him, a couple more maybe months or so until he's ready to start the Prem.
I just trying to think of it compared to the Hendrick situation at Real Madrid. He's suddenly like, it probably looks like he's going to go now. It's like, I don't know what you were expecting, mate. You've gone to a team with Mbappe ahead of you and whoever they've had previously. I'm like,
do you think you would be able to deal with that though? Like, say you're in Hendrick situation, right? Every club is coming after you, but Real Madrid have come after you.
I think you have
to turn down, isn't it?
It is hard to turn down, and there is an argument that the Vinicius and Rodrigo situation proves that it doesn't work. But it's such a crucial position, centre forward. Real Madrid aren't gonna start a 16, 17-year-old at centre forward unless they're 100% sure they need to do that.
It took Vini a few years, doesn't it? Like it took Vini a few years to kind of get to the level.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is the thing. Vini was patient and maybe understood the process. It already sounds like Hendrick's agent's coming out suggesting that I do think, I've said this before on the show, I do think young players have to really think about what is the appropriate next step, because if you're good enough down the track, these clubs will come for you still. So, and then they'll come for you in a position where you can say, I'm starting. If that makes sense.
Yeah, and it's super, super interesting. We're very, very, there were kind of rumours that there was a rumour that he might go to West Ham.
Southampton last season as well.
Southampton, I mean, we'll
Surely
see.
not.
We'll see where Endrick ends up.
Do you know what I'd quite like to
Swansea,
see?
Here we go.
Yeah, do you know what I'd quite like to see from like an objective perspective is Nwaneri go out on loan.
I'd like that.
I think
that'd be a
that
good
if
idea.
he could get game time at a Premier League
Palace?
club, 100%. Someone like Palace, like that level. We're not talking like, he goes to a team that's maybe just come up or whatever. He could go on loan to like a mid-table Premier League club, or even a Premier League club like Palace, like you said, that's going to be competing for Europe. I'd quite like to see that because I think he is a hell of a talent.
He really is. He really, really is. It's going to be interesting. Over to our next one then. Midfield battle. Start bench sell.
Here we go.
Rice, Caicedo and Gravenberch.
Oh my word.
Henry, we're coming to you first.
Well, I do think they're different players again.
They are different players. I think that's an absolutely fair enough statement. But who are you starting, who are you benching, and who are you selling?
Okay, so Gravenberch is bottom of that list for me, for a start. I think
sounds so harsh, doesn't it? Gravenberch is a fantastic player. We have to put that caveat out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously he's a fantastic player. But I think what Rice's influence, and I know stylistically, people might not say Rice, people will be quick to put Rice second or third. Rice is one of Arsenal's most important players by distance at the moment. Mm-hmm. Leadership, his dead ball delivery
It's absolutely
is
outrageous.
bonkers.
You know, they figured it out by apparently they were just like, Rice, just take one of these, essentially. And
Really?
And it was, they all then realised,
Oh my word.
because he wasn't taking set pieces at West Ham, for instance. Like, that was not what he was
I
doing.
don't think so.
His dead ball's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's
It's obviously more than that. I think his passing, his dribbling is very, very good.
Yeah.
Even his leadership nowadays, I feel like you see him so much more like just commanding. Obviously, he was captain of West Ham, but I do feel like now you just see that he believes in himself. He believes in his position in that Arsenal team. Like he is the midfielder. Like when people are talking about these battles of like who's the best midfielder, which is kind of this is an argument for who is the best midfielder. He feels like he looks like he should be in these conversations all the time.
You said to me midfielder. I'm putting Rice first. I'm not
saying anything. I'm just giving you three players to start
as a DM. I'm putting Caicedo. I'd put Caicedo first as a DM.
I was
but
going to say something.
for an all-round midfielder,
it's just who you're starting, who you're benching, who you're selling.
Rice, Caicedo, Gravenberch.
I would probably agree with that on exactly the same basis, because if you were picking an out-and-out defensive midfielder, I would pick Caicedo. I also think that Gravenberch is probably the most unique out of those three players. So that kind of puts him in a conversation if you were to keep one, who's the kind of more unicorn type midfielder? And I actually think it is Gravenberch, but I think if it's a Champions League final tomorrow, if you put it in that context, it's so difficult.
You play Caicedo and Rice together.
Yeah,
those three is a midfield.
Yeah, this is the
fun.
stupid thing about the whole like Caicedo Rice debate is that like let's just stop compare. I know obviously start bench shows a little bit different, but like when we have these discussions about who's the better midfielder, it's like
comparison though, man.
I know, yeah,
Like,
it's not a
the
new
fun
thing,
of it, isn't it?
Of course, but they're actually like I'd understand it if they were like two versions of almost like the same player, and like who's better at this, who's better at that. If you played them together, that would be arguably the best midfield partnership in the world.
But the thing is, in
right
football now, like
well, maybe I'm the PSG.
Midfielders are asked to do so much where they're even like this is what always frustrates me when people talk about the Caicedo stuff and they talk about him as if he can't pass. They talk about him as if
Caicedo's like you saw it
he's
for
got
the
no ability to like pass the ball around. He's such a good passer.
The goal, Estevao's winning goal
Against Liverpool.
It was a brilliant move that starts with Caicedo receiving the ball on the edge of his own box and then playing that line breaking pass out to the left hand side on the swivel, by the way. Like he sort of feints to play it out to the right and then whips it back through the lines and it just opens up the game. So he can do that for sure. I'd say he's better at that than Rice. I think Rice is better at breaking lines with his dribbling. Also, one thing I don't like about the whole Rice thing is that people use the set piece stuff to kind of put him down. And almost kind of make it out that he's a more limited player because that's one of his bigger assets. That is a game-winning asset. That's arguably the biggest game-winning asset out of what all of those three players on the table have. So, it's really
Caicedo
tough.
scores bangers though. I mean, so does Deadpool.
This whole
I think it's fine. I would go
does,
Caicedo start, Rice bench, but that's again.
I think I'd go Rice just. just as an all-round midfield option, but as a DM, I'd pick Caicedo.
This whole debate, Jamie O'Hara coming out and being like, oh, long throws, oh, they're ruining it. I'm like, how can a meat and two veg bloke like you be criticising long throws? It's just, and the same as set pieces. Oh, Arsenal just score from set pieces. I'm like, well, have you seen how many set pieces your teams tend to have during the matches?
Because you have more of the ball in the final third.
But this is why, a couple of years ago, everyone was like, football is so boring now. Like, let's bring back long balls. Let's bring back... No one is ever happy.
I know.
Okay? Whatever thing, like, you end up going back to this way, people want the other way. You end up going that way, people want the other. Like, there's always this thing where I think, like, especially in football, and that's what I mean, and no one's ever happy. I think football especially.
Yeah, I think the long throw set piece thing is an interesting discussion. I saw Carragher's piece on it on Monday Night Football where he was kind of moaning about it, which I didn't agree with.
Well, he was moaning because he's saying teams are just doing it for the sake of doing it now.
Yeah, that I didn't get that. And he was kind of saying that, he almost made it out like it's okay for the smaller teams to do, but the bigger teams shouldn't be doing it, which I didn't agree with. However, the only thing I would say on that I agree with from a Spurs perspective is that we are not... if you're being more reliant on set pieces and long throws to create chances as opposed to bringing your best footballers into the game, that for me is a worry. Like if you're trying to play low percentage football as opposed to like trying to create chances, that I think there's a valid argument to be had because you're not maximising the most important thing on the pitch, which is the footballers. I saw someone put a really good kind of thread out on top of Carragher's piece, which I think is really applicable to Tottenham. But if you're Arsenal, for example, who, like, let's face it, like we all like to take the piss out of Arsenal because, well, I do because I don't like them and I don't want to win the league, obviously, and I'd take any little opportunity to put them down. But let's not pretend that the reason that they aren't having these set pieces is because teams sit back, 2 banks of 4, try to limit their creative players.
It's options, isn't it?
And it's like if you've got an opportunity to get the ball in the box because you're struggling to do that because teams are sitting in, and that's not... Like, why would you not do it? I don't understand it. And the whole set piece thing of Arsenal, it's frustrating as a neutral. Well, sorry, not as a neutral, as a Spurs fan watching it because you don't want them to win, and it feels like, oh, maybe this is the game where they don't win it. The keeper's made a couple of good saves, but they're not creating loads, and then bang, Gabriel from the set piece. Yeah. So like that's frustrating, but you can't blame them for it because they're having more territory. They've had more touches in the final third than any team in the Premier League so far this season. So naturally, they're going to have more set pieces. Naturally, they're going to have more throw-ins in dangerous areas. And also, I don't even see Arsenal putting in that many long throws.
If I played in a team where we were just unbelievable at set pieces, I'd absolutely love it. I'd absolutely love it. I mean,
because you know people be talking about it as well. People like it's something that you can almost hold over other teams and say like, oh, you're going to take. It kind of makes you want to do it even more. And I think Arsenal actually, I think it kind of empowers them more to do it because people don't like it.
Yeah. Teams are shit scared of Arsenal when they get a corner.
100%.
Oh my god,
these players aren't sitting there. Arsenal players aren't sitting there going, oh, we're just trying to get corners. Of course not. What they've done is maximize, as you said, maximize their opportunities. Like when they've got an opportunity in that set piece, they know they're very, very good at it. They can get a goal.
Elite sport is about marginal gains, especially 100%. If you're a team like Arsenal that are chasing that elusive
100%
big trophy, then why would you not? 100%. It just makes no sense.
Rice first.
Okay,
I agree.
Our next one, Mbeumo, Kudus, Elanga.
Ooh. I'll take this one first. Sell Elanga. Bench Mbeumo to start Kudus. I think it's very close between those two, and they're also different kinds of players.
I would actually think I'd have the exact same 3 as you there, if I'm being totally honest. I think Kudus is a really, really good player. Like, he so much as well being asked to him in that Spurs team.
Yeah.
He's asked to kind of like create the chance and finish the chance at the same time. Can't do both. But no, he's brilliant. And Mbeumo, I think, has had a little. I think United fans are very happy with him. I would still say for someone of his price tag, it's been a little bit up and down, to be honest. But that is also Manchester United.
Yeah.
And I would say Elanga, I think especially in the Champions League, we're seeing his kind of raw physical powers like come to the top for them. Like he is so good at that against other European teams where they're not ready to kind of come up against his sheer pace.
Barcelona had a good game.
But I'd say I do want to see a little bit more. But also say that kind of generally about Newcastle, I think. Obviously, that game against Brighton, they've not actually won at the Amex in years. So it's a bit of a bogey team. So maybe it's a little bit harsh to... Well, I think he's still criticising.
Yeah.
I don't think Elanga is anywhere near the level of those two, if I'm being honest.
In maybe technical ability... But I think like the Elanga of last season was within those kind of shouts, right?
Yeah, but I think he was playing in a system that was over massive. Like you could see that in the XG with Nottingham Forest. They were massively overperforming, and it wasn't necessarily sustainable. And it was kind of geared up for him to be that attacking outlet. Newcastle, I think teams are probably going to sit in more against them a little bit. Also, you could argue that Harvey Barnes is much more of a threat off that right hand side than Elanga right now. He came on and had an impact the other night. Jacob Murphy as well. Like, I think Elanga's been. I don't think he's been underwhelming because I actually didn't expect that much from Elanga. I didn't really understand the signing, to be honest.
I don't mind him.
Well, I did understand it. That's not true, but like, I didn't think it was the one they should make. I thought they should have gone for Madueke or Kudus, someone that can do exactly what Elanga can do. Maybe not to the same level in terms of the raw pace. Yeah. They're not as quick as him, but they can make the intelligent runs in behind, but also offer you so much else. I think Kudus is the more complete of the three players. Okay. Spurs are probably more reliant on Kudus than anybody at the moment, and more reliant on those teams are on those players. That doesn't necessarily make him better, but I think it's the other stuff that makes him better as well. And also the different kinds of players. And Mbeumo is more of a goal scorer. He's more of an output kind of.
Oh, definitely. I mean, he's basically playing striker last season.
Yeah, he's more of a final action player. I think Kudus is the more complete of all the wingers. So
for me, like Anthony Gordon is showing what he's a better winger than Elanga in my opinion. And then the point is, like, Harvey Barnes I think is a good winger, but you can clearly see that Harvey Barnes is not as good as Anthony Gordon. But I think Harvey Barnes on his day can match up to Elanga in some ways. And the point being, Elanga for me was an overpay, but he was still like a good signing. Again at Mbeumo, but like a step up. Then Kudus is the only one who I really think, he's one I would play top draw for and expect top draw every week.
So you're saying Kudus, Mbeumo, Elanga?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, tough one, this, lads. Not going to lie.
Go on then.
Harry Kane.
Oh, here we go.
Kylian Mbappe. Erling Haaland. Start,
Christ.
Bench,
right,
sell.
I'll go for it. Oh, fucking hell. It's just so boring. Honestly, this is the most least interesting one for me. I think...
Do you not think it's difficult, though? I think it's so
really difficult, but I'm kind of with Henry. Like, I think there's...
I think I'm going to put Mbappe 1, I'm going to put Harry Kane 2, I'm going to put Erling Haaland 3. That's what I'm going for. I think that Mbappe, on his day, is the most complete player in the world right now. I think some of his... Now he's excelling at centre forward as well as like left wing. That's two positions that he's beginning to master. His finishing is awesome.
That goal against Atletico was a joke.
And actually he does create for the team as well. He's not this like selfish arsehole. And I do think that I know that like the whole thing about PSG is he doesn't work hard. I think he's realised almost this year that if he wants to take the next level up.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And I think with Xabi Alonso, look at the way he's been treating Bellingham, for example. I think Alonso is making it very clear, under my regime, I'm allowed to kind of say you have to do this and you have to do this.
It's kind of setting the standards.
Yeah. So, and I think with that, you're going to see an even more frightening Mbappe, which we are seeing. And never take away the pressure of playing for Real Madrid as well, because I don't think Haaland will ever have that playing for City. I don't think he'll ever. And then Harry Kane, I think we're seeing, again, it's one of those where people take his numbers for granted. Haaland is as good of a goal scorer as Harry Kane, but I just think everything else that Harry Kane brings, I think his all-round game is just slightly above Haaland's. But then at the same time, what do you want? Do you want a goal scorer or whatever? So I just think there's more versatility in the top two than I've gone for Haaland there. But again, I'm not selling Erling Haaland, am I? He's an absolute... He could almost single-handedly win Man City the Premier League, which in itself is an insane statement.
Yeah, this is the thing with Haaland. I feel like he's reached a level now where I think with the big personalities that have kind of left City, I think with Haaland in the first couple of years at City, you could argue that he was an absolutely insane goal scorer, but look at the level of service and quality that he had around him to allow him to do that. Of course, there were games that he still bullied defenders and made things happen of his own, but the amount of times you'd see De Bruyne slip that ball through the corridor and he kind of just run onto it, or Foden in that 23-24 season, the amount he was kind of creating for him. And that's not to take anything away from Erling Haaland, but I think now you're seeing a different version of Haaland where he's become way more talismanic. I do think, like Henry says, I think Haaland has got the capability to drag Man City to a Premier League title. If he stays fit the whole season,
form at the moment is just a joke, man.
But it's also all of the other stuff as well. Like, it's just... Maybe it's because he's been doing this the whole time and we just took it a bit for granted because of the other personalities and quality in that City team, whereas maybe it's not at the same level now and more of the focus and spotlight is on Haaland. But I would probably, maybe it's my kind of Spurs bias, but I would start Harry Kane, I would bench Mbappe and I would sell Haaland. It's incredibly close. No one's right, no one's wrong in this kind of argument because they're all so good and offer different things. I think World Cup year Mbappe is another level of player. And I think that's kind of coincided with obviously Xabi Alonso coming in and like the stuff you said about kind of demanding the standards, demanding the work rate. I've been really impressed with him when I've watched Real Madrid at certain moments this season. That goal that he scored against for France against, who was it in the last international break, where he dribbles in between all those players. Unbelievable. I just think Harry Kane, we're seeing the most complete version of him we ever had. And I'd probably say that Harry Kane has been he's probably performed at the highest level, I think, consistently out of the three so far this season. But then again, you're splitting hairs over that.
You are. I think for me, I think one of the things I think City are actually benefiting from, they're kind of going back to the classic Haaland of when he played for Dortmund. And you kind of put that ball at the top. And when Erling Haaland is running down on goal, and he's done that thing where almost his head goes down, he's not even looking
Crazy.
up, and it's like a bullet train. Yeah, it must be one of the scariest sights in football. This 6'5" guy just absolutely, and that running style he does that's so wide.
Honestly, sorry, Zach.
Sorry,
I'm buzzing. I'm pretty sure they'll do it. Norway getting to the World Cup because it's going to be. They are going to be a serious problem.
100%.
Oscar Bob, Nusa, Odegaard, Haaland.
Yeah, they've got. I mean, it's weird. Like Sweden are just. Well, Graham Potter's about to fix it, but Norway's. The goals he scores for Norway is bonkers. And
we forget sometimes how young Haaland was when he came onto the stage. Now I think he's 25, is he? Maybe 26? But getting towards that kind of a bit more experience, leadership qualities coming into the pitch now. I think when he comes out in press conferences, he's really, really strong. I think you see him kind of take it to this next level.
His personality is amazing.
25. 25. And I would go with, though, Kylian Mbappe, number one. I always feel very fortunate that I was there for the World Cup final of France, Argentina, and just saw Mbappe and Messi kind of both be like, okay, my turn now. Let me make something do this.
That was Mbappe's final. I don't care what anyone says.
It was a joke. It was an absolute joke. But again, he is. I think if you could have the perfect footballer. Or perfect forward, it is Mbappe. He is the goal scorer, he has the pace, he has the ability on the ball, he has the finishing, he's got all of that. I think if you have the perfect goal scorer, it is Erling Haaland, I think. Whereas Kane has just managed also, again, this is not a discredit to him at all, but I think he has got the maximum out of all of his abilities. His finishing is a joke. I always think that goal that happened a couple of weeks ago, where it kind of feels like it defies gravity.
Do you not think that? I think that makes him a better finisher. I think 6 yards. Maybe 12 yards. Yeah, I can see what you're saying when it comes to Haaland.
Haaland doesn't score that goal that Kane did against Frankfurt.
That's it. Kane scores goals which Haaland can't, and I think Kane can score goals which Haaland can. But Haaland just does them more consistently.
Yeah, but is that not a trait? Is that not? That's the Haaland trait.
What you just said is that Haaland's the better goal scorer, and I'm like, well, I don't think he is, because Kane can literally score every single type of goal without fail.
Kane's goal catalogue is far more impressive than Haaland's. I think it
depends. No, sure, but I guess it depends on how you're looking at it. I'm talking about essentially, basically, if we gave everybody the exact same chance, who do you think comes out on top?
Harry Kane. Definitely.
I remember when we played Poland away a few years ago, and it was built up as Kane versus Lewandowski. Kane scored, I think, twice in that game, and one of them was just a 30-yard bang just outside into the box. And it's just
outswing into the corner.
There are levels to this game.
Okay. So for such a boring question, we've ended up having a nice little
debate.
Well, no,
I think it's a good debate. It's just obviously it's been doing. It's become a bit like the Rice Caicedo thing. Definitely. I think Kane. I said this the other day, and again, this might be a little bit Spurs bias. I think Kane genuinely might be the best ball striker in the history. I think Kane might be the best ball striker in the history of football. Whoa. Is that crazy? Other than maybe Ronaldo.
Adriano?
It's difficult because
yeah, but Kane's passing.
R9, Xabi Alonso, Paul Scholes. A lot of people say these kind of ball strikers.
But I think Kane has also got that range of passing in his game as well.
I don't mind the
I think he's up there. If finishing and passing, I think.
If those three maintain this level for the whole season, I think talking about Ballon d'Or, which again I think is a bit of a stupid competition.
Fun shout, yeah.
It does come down to the World Cup almost. It does come down to who delivers, because that's what Mbappe has over Kane. Is that I know Kane got the golden boot at a few of them, but in the Panama hat trick, the legendary hat trick, it will come down to who can drag their national team as far as possible in that competition. For sure.
I do think Mbappe has that big moment gene where maybe Kane doesn't necessarily, but I also think that's partly down to the style of player that Kane is as well. I don't think it's necessarily as much a mental thing. I don't know. I think Haaland's chances now of probably winning a Ballon d'Or are actually greater now that City are worse.
Yeah, he looks. Yeah, I get what you mean. I get what you mean.
But I think they'd have to win. They'd have to win the Champions League and the Premier League. I think England, for Kane to win the Ballon d'Or, I think England would have to win the World Cup, and I think Bayern would have to win the Champions League, because I think they're going to win the Bundesliga as a given, probably. And also they've got a chance of the Champions League.
Mbappe also has the same though. Mbappe probably has to win the Champions League and the World Cup.
Probably. Maybe that's just me thinking about it because Mbappe.
You know what it is? It's whoever wins the World Cup.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. It probably is. Like if Lamine Yamal wins the World Cup.
Okay, but it
might be Lamine Yamal.
If that's a good point.
He's not as good as those guys.
If Mbappe,
he's not bad though.
If Mbappe wins the World Cup but not the Champions League, I think he'd have a good chance of winning the Ballon d'Or. If Kane won
the World Cup and didn't win the Champions League, he'd also have a fucking good chance.
I know. Honestly, it's such a dumb competition.
We'll see. Okay, on to our next one quickly. I've got a few fun ones, but let's just do a couple of them. Timber, James, Munoz.
Ooh.
Sell Munoz, start Reece James, bench Timber.
Yeah, you know what?
That's not disrespectful to Munoz. Munoz has been amazing.
I was going to say, I said that so quickly, but like there's a massive debate to be had between Munoz is not on the level of those two. Timber and Reece James. Timber's the best defensive right back in the world. Reece James is probably the most complete right back in the world. Yeah. Maybe that one.
You know what we need to do? Keep fit for the rest of the year. And I think you'll start seeing Reece James pop all over.
No, I do agree, but he's probably going to start behind Jed Spence at the World Cup, so it doesn't matter.
I think Spence playing on the left.
That's actually a very good point.
Jedders.
Okay.
DJ Ed Spence.
Reijnders, Enzo Fernandes, Bruno Guimaraes. We'll do these ones quickly, do these quick ones.
Start Bruno G.
Yes, I agree.
I think he's one of a big game player. He's absolutely outrageous.
I love Bruno.
Mm-hmm. And then I don't know.
I'd go Bruno G, Enzo Fernandes, Reijnders. Love Reijnders. I think he had a great debut.
He's been all right since then. I'd probably agree with that.
He's maybe just finding his place, which is fine.
I think Reijnders will end up being better for City than Enzo Fernandes will be for Chelsea. But I think right now, I do think Enzo Fernandes is a bit underrated and a bit overhated because of the price tag. And he's not the most he's not as good as Caicedo. So I think obviously Caicedo gets all the plaudits. But I actually think the problem with Enzo Fernandes is that I think his best position is actually, you get the best out of Fernandes when Palmer isn't in the team.
Yeah, when he's almost a 10.
Because he can crash the box and get in there, whereas
Enzo is the best value big Benfica sell that I've seen, because most of them are an absolute waste of money.
True,
At least Enzo has
Fernandes has been good for Chelsea.
One of Enzo's biggest issues I find though is he's asked to do so much. And I think you see when other players have to play that same position, why Enzo's so good. But but because he's asked to do so much, he's either up here and held as an amazing game, or it's what an awful game that was for Enzo. It's never just Enzo was pretty good in that game. It's always wow, he was incredible. There's so much stuff about how he's just basically he'll do nothing but score a goal, which isn't a bad thing to have. Not a bad thing. But I kind of agree. Yeah, absolutely fine. Do
you know what it is as well? Sorry, just one final thing on that is that I would love to, I don't like Chelsea, but I would love to see Lavia stay fit and get a consistent run of games, because I do think Chelsea's best midfield would actually be Caicedo, Lavia, Palmer. I'd love to see that. I think Lavia's better than Enzo Fernandes, but they're also different type of players.
Yeah, they've tried to play it as well as where Caicedo kind of goes to right backish, don't they? And fit
but then you don't have James.
And it's basically a three back, isn't it? Yeah.
Difficult one.
Henry, Saka, Salah, Olise.
Oh god.
Olise, Saka,
at this very moment
Salah.
in time, I've got Salah. I'm selling Salah.
Yeah.
Time
to go.
Because, and you know what? On this one, I think Liverpool, everyone's he's signing his new contract. Saudi Arabia would buy him whenever and for whatever price, because he's such a big name in the Arabic world. So, and I know he's from Africa, by the way, but
North Africa. I know what you mean.
Olise is something else. Olise is
a
I think because he's out of the limelight. I mean, I love Saka more than anything in the world, and I was there at England, Wales, and I saw him score that goal. I do love Saka, but honestly, I think Olise's ceiling is maybe a little bit higher.
I would agree with that.
Than Saka's.
Olise has the ability to be the best player in the world.
Olise, he's maybe missing. Has he got pace? That's what I often wonder about that. I'm going. With a lot of my answers so far, it probably feels I've put Rice first and Kane above certain people. I am going to put Olise first, And again, I know it's the Bundesliga, but still playing for Bayern comes with a lot of pressure. If they have a remote off-season, which
they're storming the Champions League at the moment.
Elise's gone in there. Elise's gone in there and looked so much better than Gnabry, Sane, a lot of these guys who for a long time we thought, these are all really scary wingers. Yeah. And I think I was reading that the Bayern board can't believe the price they paid for Olise and got him. As in they're gone, he's a complete snip.
It's a release clause.
It was like 42 million, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a release clause. Welcome.
Well, no, that's it.
But still, it's the same value.
Yeah, he's well over £100 million player now. Yeah. I'm going for him first, so I'm starting him, but very close behind. I'm benching Saka, and then at the moment I'm selling Salah.
Yeah, I think it's clear. Yeah, it's clearly Salah to go, and then I think you're splitting hairs over Olise and Saka because they're also quite different.
Yeah, they are different.
I think Saka's been brilliant since he's come back from injury for Arsenal. But in terms of maybe who I'd prefer to watch, which probably comes into this a little bit as well, Olise. I'd just go Olise, I think, as well. I think he got over 30 goal contributions for Bayern Munich last year, I'm pretty sure. It's quite funny because Palace fans will tell you that like he played at this level for Palace. And I was like, I'm not quite sure he played at that level. But he was insane.
And he was also injury prone. The consistency wasn't there all the time.
He's definitely gone to a new stratosphere at Bayern. And I don't even think that is just a case of like...
he's playing around as well. Like him and Kane's link up and their ability, like it's a joke. You think about how... that level, like there are certain players when they do just play with better players, they get so much better.
Do you know what killed me about Olise is that he's Mr. Nonchalant. I never celebrate anything. Does a postman celebrate when he delivers a letter or whatever? He slide tackled the ball into the back of the net off Joe Bellingham on Saturday and then did a knee slide. And then I've seen him score 3 kicks in the last minute and just stand there. That's what I do, mate.
That was such a great goal.
It was so funny. By the way, amazing pass by Harry Kane.
Yeah.
Okay, our next one, Yamal, Dembele, Vini. Slightly different. Dembele's really a striker now, isn't he? So kind of different, but it's a left wing, right wing striker.
Start Yamal. Clearly, I think.
I think you can. I think there are. It depends.
Okay, on the basis of what I've said about we've comfortably said Salah. Right now, you got to sell him. I think if we're going right now, then you do start Yamal. He's probably the best of those. But that's not to say that I think he's like head and shoulders above Vini Jr. because I do think Vini Jr. was the best player in the world for maybe 18 months.
He's dropped off Vini at the moment, hasn't he? Like there's been a few...
And that goes actually more back to testament to the Mbappe question, which is everyone's going, Mbappe thinks he's going to go to Madrid and just be the big dog there when Vini Jr. is there. It's like, well, actually, no, Mbappe is now just a big dog. So
Dembele's amazing, but he's also injured at the moment. But like he had an incredible season last year.
Yeah, he had an incredible season.
But Dembele?
I
probably would.
Yeah, I'm selling him Dembele. Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah.
So tight.
I just love Vini Jr.
I'm starting him out.
I love Vini J.
Yeah. You had a after Vini J's after your first.
I famously said that I wasn't having it with Vini Jr.
And then he
I love
really
it.
good.
I
don't dislike it. I like Vini J as well, loads. But I think Dembele last year was just so good. And also, maybe it's the narrative around Dembele and the story of Dembele that I love so much as well. Yeah. This guy who just everyone thought was never going to have this work for him. Obviously, then went back to PSG. Everyone still didn't like it. And then he's just worked so hard. He stayed mainly fit for so long.
Yeah, well done. He grew up and he finally realised that you can't just play video games until 4 a.m. and just bum around and be a big, well-played football. Well done, Usman Dembele, for waking up and realising...
Vinny's the perfect character, is he, over there?
What do you mean? Vini Jr. works incredibly hard. Vini Jr. has level. He
don't help himself on the pitch.
I've heard this statement a few times. His body of work, is Vini Jr. up to this point is nuts. And so I am putting. Look, I'm not taking any away from Usman Dembele. Let's not forget that PSG were like 20th. They were 20th.
Should Yamal have won the Ballon d'Or over Dembele?
I wanted Yamal to win it.
I couldn't give a shit, honestly, about
that is a pat answer. No. Come on.
No, boring. Should he?
Yes.
Okay, Ben.
Yeah, because it's...
It comes down the trophies.
No. It depends. With the Ballon d'Or, just quickly, because I don't want to go over this again. It depends how you view it. Do you just go, who's the best player, or do you go, who had the most successful season? Because that was the problem with all the Messi. They were like, well, it doesn't matter what any other player does. Messi's clearly the best player in the world, so he's got to win it every year. It's like, actually, other players had Schneider one year won the treble. It's like, surely you got to recognise that someone in his position maybe had the best season as an individual player. So then you go, well, Usman Dembele did win all of these things, so therefore he's the best. Also, I think it's difficult with La Liga because you've got 4 good teams and the rest of it's pretty poor.
You can say the same about Ligue 1 though.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. It's tricky.
Yeah.
Oh, well, Ligon's on the up, baby. Marseille. Oh, I'm waffling
True,
now.
yeah.
I'm waffling
Okay.
now. I said what I said. I'm going
right.
for Yamal, Vini, and then Dembele.
All right, I actually would go Yamal, Dembele, Vini. You would go.
Probably do the same. Although I think Vinny is kind of starting to warm back up
Yeah,
to
I mean, give it 6 months. And
his
I'll probably be going
footwork
Vinny's
for
amazing again.
the Bellingham goal last night, where Vinny hit the shot that hit the post was phenomenal.
The one we're going to end on, lads. The biggest of them all.
Christ.
Dan Burn, Harry Maguire, Tarkowski.
Christ.
That's good. That's quite fun, actually.
Genuinely start Dan Burn.
I think you start Dan Burn. I think you.
Bench Harry Maguire, sell Tarkowski.
I think I'm in agreement. But I do really
I love
like
Harry Maguire
Tarkowski.
so do I.
I do really like Tarkowski.
Harry Maguire, again, if you're losing and you need to stick up someone up top.
True.
Get
Harry
closer to your
Maguire-
mic, Henry.
Huh?
Get closer to your mic and say it. Don't say it. Henry.
I think Harry Maguire has been one of the most disrespected players of all time.
Would you say it was worth the 80 million?
No.
Yeah, I'd honestly.
Jar, shut up.
Not far off it.
You think Harry? Sorry. You think Harry Maguire has been worth the £80 million they bought him from Leicester?
I think
I don't think it's crazy to say
Zach, the amount of games they've got out of him,
Yeah.
the amount of times that he has actually turned up for United, the fact that he actually cares about the club,
Yeah.
the fact that he puts his heart.
Sure, I think, and I agree. It's not £80 million worth. Of
Yeah,
that,
okay,
mate.
okay. He maybe not be an £80 million player in terms of the level of his ability, but in terms of value for money, I've seen a lot of clubs spend way more, or even and get way less out of a player. They have rinsed Maguire for everything they possibly can,
And they should have. Yeah,
and
he's
he's
80
and
million
he's
quid.
and he's been. Yeah, but like, I'm sorry. How many? We take it for granted that like Arsenal bought Nicola Pepe and he was absolute dog. And,
Yeah,
and
for
the-
like 68 million.
Yeah, and there's so many transfers like
we
that
bought
which people
Ndombele
do.
for like 65 million.
So many, even
but this is also a defender we've got to talk about. You're talking about wingers where, like, when you're a forward, you are
You
priced
bought
in more.
you bought
You are
Nkunku
priced
for like
more.
55
But these
million.
are attacking mid players. 55 million is a lot cheaper than 80
But
million
also-
pounds
Yeah,
for a
but
centre-back. That's
they
£5 million more.
United have got
than Liverpool
way
paid for
more
Van
out of
Dijk.
Maguire for £80 million. They've spent stupid money on players over the years.
Yeah.
At least you can say Maguire's
They
survived
could have
the
bought the
test of
same player that Maguire's level has been at United for 40.
But you could argue they wouldn't have got the same amount of leadership, the same amount of ability to turn up in the big moments. Yes, Maguire's not been perfect for United and has made mistakes as well, but there's been so many bigger issues than Maguire during the time.
he was England's
We
starting.
can't be sitting here and
he was
going, he's
England.
an
No,
80 million
Harry,
player, and,
Zach,
because he's such a nice guy.
it's not about nice guy. He was England's starting centre half
Yeah,
for a
but England
long
doesn't
time.
matter.
Yeah.
Like,
No,
we're
it
talking
does
about
matter,
England
though.
don't pay £80 million for him.
It does matter though because
City nearly did.
So, yeah, sure, of course, but they didn't.
No, but they were prepared to pay big money for him.
It's not,
I
it's
get
not,
what you-
it's
I
not
get what you
Maguire's
mean. I
fault.
get what you
It's not
mean.
Maguire's fault
It's
that they
not.
paid 80 million
But
for
as a
him. He didn't
football-
ask
but
for that to
looking with
happen.
it- But that's not the question here. Like, I'm more than happy to accept Maguire's actually had a very good time at Man United. I would agree that. But what I would say
But then he
is
was good value for money.
Yeah, I
No, I
agree.
wouldn't say it's value for money. I wouldn't say it's value
But,
for money.
okay, so if this was like
so if I asked-
65
So if we
million
went back in
pounds.
history right now and we know what's happened with Maguire for how much they paid for £80 million, would you still sign that contract? Would you
I
still
don't know,
go sign it for £80 million?
that's a completely ridiculous. You can't.
Yeah, that's hypothetical.
That's,
You can't.
that's so hypothetical. I'm not even going to bother answering that question.
My point is you wouldn't.
Maguire's
Like, you
level,
would go and buy-
Maguire's level is way higher than the other two centre backs you've just mentioned. That's testament to the career that he's had.
Look at the other centre backs they've signed in that time as well. Martinez, Varane. Varane was pretty average. I know he kind of fell off in terms of his fitness, but like they've signed bigger name, more high profile, more exciting centre backs than Maguire. And Maguire is the one that has outlasted pretty much all of them, other than Martinez, who was still at the club. But Martinez has not been reliable.
But is that not a bigger issue to United's like scouting? Like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, Varane was always injury prone. Varane was getting towards his old age. Like, that's just stupid.
Yeah,
decision
if
for
you want to
United.
use it like a hypothetical, if you said to Arsenal, United's transfer board, you're going to spend 80 million on this guy, and he's going to be really consistent, be here for ages, and you're going to spend loads of money on a lot less, but loads of money on these other big name players. They might come, they might go, they might come, might go. You have to keep buying players. I think you'd probably go, I'll just buy a bit more and have a bit more of a consistent investment
I
there.
think you
So
would, mate, because also this is £80 million we're talking about. Like, do you know how many? There aren't many £80 million
United
transfers.
don't care. They're spending 80 million on anything at the moment.
They
At
spent
least it's
80
like-
million on Antony.
I do understand I understand what your point, but I find it. I think it's very bad. I think it's. We can't sit here now and be like, Harry Maguire for £80 million was a good transfer.
He's been there for like I think you can. I think he's been there since what 2019. I think they bought.
So
him,
would you
didn't
say
they?
Kepa Arrizabalaga for Chelsea, who was there for 7-8 years, was a good transfer?
completely
Oh, that's
completely
completely different, Zach.
He
That's
played lots of games.
completely.
He's played lots
It's
of games.
completely
He's been nowhere near as
different.
good
Oh,
as
come off
Maguire
it.
has been for
You
United.
know,
Maguire
you know
had some
that's
really
stupid.
bad times.
He's also had some really good times.
You could say
United
about,
fit that he's won FA Cups.
Won the Champions League, Kepa.
Oh, come on.
Come on,
Yeah, it's not the same.
You are
But
clutching
you
at
understand my
straws.
point here?
No,
Of
but it's not.
We're talking about someone
if
that
you're
was
going to make
very,
a point
very
like that,
expensive and was did play consistently.
If you're gonna make a
Maguire
point
was
like
title
that-
race Man United, well, sorry, Rice.
I get your point.
No.
Maybe this is one maybe weird. Actually, it's quite.
You
a good
could go
debate.
for like Enzo. Has Enzo really been worth 110 million? No,
No.
because people are like suddenly like, oh, he's been good. So would you go back in time and say,
Yeah, I wouldn't have signed him for
but at the
100 million pounds,
But
no.
at the same time, if Enzo is at the end of this 10-year Blue Co project, where it is, and you go, well, look, he's been misconsistent. He's been in that midfield the whole time. He's survived
I'd
this.
say it wasn't
I
worth
go,
120 million pounds.
well,
no.
I'll be like, well, at least you got the best possible value you could out of him when you spent stupid money on so many other players.
Yeah.
You've been forced to sell years
Also,
later.
let's
I
face
would
it, if
still
United
complain
didn't
about the
sign
price tag.
Maguire, they would have wasted that money on someone else that would have been nowhere near as reliable as Maguire has been for Man United at centre-half. I'm not saying that he's been 8 out of 10 every single game for United, because he has had some rocky periods. He definitely has. But United have had some rocky periods alongside that as well. And actually, it's kind of been in some of the darker times where Maguire has actually stood up to be counted for. Like,
Maguire would have been broke. Most players be broken by what Maguire's
Yeah.
gone
No,
through,
I'm
and the
not-
consistent
on the
hatred that's been.
personal level
I'm
as well.
not
And,
disputing this at all. Like, I'm not disputing that he's been that his time at United has been so bad and so bad. My point being, I think if we're going to look at £80 million transfer and say that Harry Maguire has been worth £80 million,
How many millions would you be satisfied with?
I was going to say, if you go down to 70, what would you?
Yeah, 70. All right,
I think if they'd paid maybe 40.
No, that's not true.
Yeah.
60, this wouldn't even be a debate.
exactly.
60 million, you'd be like,
I
oh, he's
agree.
just 60 million, you'd be like, oh, whatever. This whole argument is based around a 20 million discrepancy, which you seem to be frustrated with, and I think it doesn't matter.
which is
whatsoever.
nothing in modern
He's
football.
one of the most expensive centre backs of all time.
Yeah, but that's not his fault. And the
I
way
know
the
it's not
transfers
his
get
fault, but that is
amortised and
what
spread over
happens.
time, like
We're sitting here, people complain about Florian Wirtz right now and Isak right now. Like, it happens all the time where people get talked about for their price tag.
Yeah, but they've also
That's
been
not
there
their
for 5
fault.
minutes.
I know, but it's not. I completely understand it. But like when Lukaku came for 100 million, there's a 100 million price tag. Like, there's always. I completely understand that players don't get to choose their price tag. I completely understand it. But unfortunately, in discussions, that is going to be a part of it.
Yeah, of course it is. But I think Henry's totally right. Like, if they paid 60 million for Maguire, nobody would ever bring up the price. Never. 60 million.
Maybe, but like,
And
maybe
then
60
you're talking
million's a
about
little
20
bit-
million,
it
which
still
in
is a
modern
lot of
football,
money.
with the money that's being spent around and the way
But
that
also, do you remember how
transfers
much
get
80 million was
amortised.
in 2019? Like, that was a lot of money for a centre back. It still is
Yeah,
a
of
lot of money
course.
now.
Yeah, no, of course it is.
Doesn't matter.
I don't think it matters that much. I think
Fair. Okay.
I think you can make the argument that he's not, but I think to say that he is definitely not worth £80 million, I don't think is fair. And I think you can definitely make the argument that he has been. I think United fans will tell you that he has been. Of course, they're going to be a bit more biased, but they watch him far more than us. And I think he's been, at times, a little bit of a glue that's kind of held that club together, him and Bruno Fernandes.
I think of all the money they've spent and all the money they've wasted.
I get.
Harry Maguire for 80 million is one of the best pieces of business they've done.
Yeah, which is probably a reflection on their bad transfer business as much as anything, to be fair. But that doesn't make Maguire a bad signing and not a bad signing at that price.
Okay. I think maybe it's going to be one we're going to have to agree to disagree.
Yeah. Well, all right.
If you so
Ben's not done.
no, I'm not done. I'm joking. World Cup next year.
Yeah.
If England take 4 centre backs, which they probably will,
But the
you've
international is so different.
No, I was
like,
just going to say.
the price tag doesn't come into international.
No, I wasn't going to say that. That's not what I was going to say.
actually.
I was going to say about because we were quite quick to say Dan Burn. So you got Gahey, you got Conter and Stones, who'll be the 3 centre backs. Start 2 of them, whoever you want. I don't care. 4th centre back. Would you take Dan Burn or Maguire?
I would probably take Maguire, mainly just because of his England experience.
Fair
Oh,
play.
there we go. 8 million. Bosh.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks, Mate, you know what? One of the most passionate debates we've had on this. I think it's a quite fun one. Let us know in the comments below what you think then of Harry Maguire and if he's
Harry
worth
Maguire.
£80 million.
He's an icon.
Boys,
Maguire.
thank you so much for joining me. Henry, where can the lovely people at home check your stuff out?
Joe, I guess. Go watch the quiz on Saturday. It's the show that is sweeping the nation right now.
Ben Bowman, apart from you battling out with Mark Clattenburg, which is doing really
yeah.
well. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
where
Real,
can the,
Yeah, that was quality.
Thank you, boys. Thank you. I just sit there and say, blow a whistle.
No,
you
great
do the
video.
real, you're the real star.
Yeah, true,
Where can
true.
they check out some of your other stuff, mate?
TikTok, YouTube, Darren and Doing podcast, FC Bottle Job podcast. I'm going to go home now and watch Harry Maguire's entire compilation from the Sunday night and validate my
I
opinion.
will say, let's check out. That was a lovely, very
good.
lovely debate.
Well debated.
I love the discussion.
Well debated. That was good fun.
Again, let us know what you think of Harry Maguire. Subscribe to the channel. Watch out for Monday's video, where, to be honest, there's a lot of debates like that, very impassioned. PSG fan in particular. You'll see. Subscribe, like the video. See you later. Bye.